Good evening. Lady Cowan, Mrs Fraser, the Honourable Sam Gibbons, Professor Brendan Crabb, Director and CEO of the Burnet Institute, Mr Robert Milne, Chair of the Burnet Institute, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first may I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathering and pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any elders who are with us this afternoon. Well, I welcome you all here to the first event that I'm hosting as the Chief Patron of the Burnet Institute, and in doing that I'm conscious that I'm continuing a tradition that has been carried on, I think, by 3 governors before me. And I'm delighted that my first event is to help you celebrate the 30th anniversary. I warmly welcome the opportunity to acknowledge the outstanding work of the Institute, not only in its contribution to Victoria, but also to Australia and, as we all know, to the much wider world as well. And I also welcome the opportunity to thank and acknowledge our generous philanthropic community, and I'm delighted that so many of you have been able to join us this evening. Well, what extraordinary growth the Institute has achieved in just 30 years. Having grown out of the Fairfield Hospital in the mid-1980s to meet growing research demands at the time, it now has offices in 4 different countries and research and public health activities in 17 different countries. I think, as probably all of you in this room know and appreciate, the Burnet has achieved global attention for all sorts of important discoveries and pivotal contributions to scientific research, public health action and global health. I note all sorts of wonderful work and achievements, particularly in malaria research and the prevention and treatment of HIV. And I thoroughly enjoyed a visit that I made to the office here in September last year. I met many of the renowned staff and researchers. I was painfully aware of my own inadequacies. I think I asked Science 101 type questions. Professor Crabb was utterly charming and acted as though I was a genius. I knew that I wasn't. And I was particularly conscious of how difficult the task was for me because, of course, one of my predecessors in Professor David de Kretser would have asked the most intelligent and insightful questions, so that made it even harder. But I was struck then with the thought and the realisation that we are very fortunate to have so many brilliant minds working here, right at hand in Melbourne and in Victoria. I'm particularly conscious that the Institute could not have reached this stage and reached such an illustrious milestone without the extraordinary generosity of many of you here this afternoon. The support of numerous charitable trusts and foundations greatly assists the work that's being done at the Burnet, which ensures that its reputation is world standard. And given my perspective now as the Governor of Victoria, I'm delighted that it also ensures the reputation of Victoria more generally worldwide as the absolute leading part of this country and this part of the world. So the statement that I'm thoroughly enjoying in this early time in this role is to say, on behalf of all Victorians, I'm able to thank you very, very much. If you'd spent your life in a courtroom always taking things from people, you'd know it might give such pleasure to be able to say, all I want to do is to give thanks and to show my appreciation for the work that you're doing. I'm delighted to be able to welcome and congratulate Professor Brendan Crabb too. Professor Crabb is noted as one of Melbourne's most influential people, and in 2015, of course, he was made a Companion of the Order of Australia for his contributions to medical research and global health. As well as that, he happens to be a particularly nice and charming person, and that is always a lovely thing too when you're lucky enough to have the contact that we've been having. We're very, very fortunate to have him here in Victoria, and I'm delighted to introduce him to you now. Thank you.